Raw Takes and Company in the house. Andrew Hody, Matthias Sandahar is back, and Jake Malensic is here too. Gentlemen, how are we doing? Did you enjoy the big game this weekend? This past weekend?
Matthias.
All right, I was letting Jake go first, but I'll
I,
go.
I said your name. I didn't think. I guess
Oh,
you didn't hear me. That's fine. Go ahead, my friend.
So, as a football fan, it was one of the defensive games I've ever seen, quote unquote. As a Seattle fan, I sat through it with my legs kicked up, just enjoying the whole
Just
game.
feet kicking like
Yeah.
this. Just here we go, baby.
Yeah, I loved every second of it.
I mean, I'm glad Seattle won. That's the only thing I have to say. Jake.
I'm good. I enjoyed it. It's fine. I mean, it was football at the end of the day. Some good moment. New England pretended to make it interesting late, which was cool. They threw that touchdown, and you were like, "Oh, maybe." But it was fine.
We were talking about it a little bit in our group chat. I was talking about the percentage of chances of the Patriots having a chance to come back. And, Jake kept shutting me down. And Jake was right to. But I still kept
Well,
saying there's a
there was a
shot.
point they were maybe going to come back, and then I think by the time that we had started texting about it, we were probably past that point. But I do think you were right in the sense that there was a moment in that game where you're like, okay, if they get a stop and a score, they're in it. And then they didn't get, I don't think, either one of those things. And then it was over.
Well, let's get right to the Super Bowl here. But before we do, just want to double check. You guys having a good week so far? Anything new? Anything exciting in the worlds of Jake and Matthias?
I was upset I didn't get the score correct, but I'm less upset knowing I wasn't close.
Fair enough. Matthias?
With my 21-13 guess, didn't get either side right, wasn't even close.
I was kind of close with my 7 pick, but I think more so the thing is, this week starting a new job. So yeah,
go team.
Thank you. And other than that, pretty smooth sailing, getting ready to go.
All right, let's get ready to go. We got to still talk about the Super Bowl a little bit more in depth as the Seattle Seahawks defeat the New England Patriots 29-13. Ended up being a 2-possession game. I personally think Seattle could have made it a blowout earlier on. It was only 9.
Wait, I was close. I didn't realize I was close.
Yeah, it was relatively close. It was close to 36-13, but that one touchdown was called back by Seattle. That would have made it 36-13 most likely. But for me, to me, when I analyze this game, Seattle proved to be the best team in the NFL this season. There's no doubt. But I really think the moment was just too big for New England. Like, New England had a cupcake schedule. They beat only one playoff team that had a winning record the entire season until the playoffs, of course. Then they beat the Chargers, who had injuries, major injuries. I picked the Chargers to upset New England in that game. I admit I was wrong and probably foolishly wrong. Then they played the Houston Texans, where I thought the Texans were going to stomp them because that was their first tough opponent. But C.J. Stroud proved to be not the guy for that moment, and he wasn't. And then the Denver Broncos didn't have Bo Nix in a bad weather game. If they had Bo Nix, I don't think the New England Patriots win that game based on the way Denver was playing. Yeah, I do not think that would have been the case. So I think New England kind of got lucky all season long, and it showed when they finally played a team that was ready to go and just better than them. It's not even ready to go. The Seattle Seahawks are just better than the New England Patriots. I don't think there's any deciphering that there. There's just from top to bottom, you look at the roster, it's just a better roster, a better defense, better run game, better receivers. And to be honest with you, the Seattle receivers outside of Cooper Kupp were kind of disappointing. Jackson Smith-Njigba didn't really light the world on fire. He did an okay job. I know he did get beat up a little bit. And
he was battling through a lot.
Reliable, I get it. But yeah, I'm sorry?
He was battling through a lot, I think.
He is. He
went to the tent three separate times.
I know. And I'm not knocking Jackson Smith-Njigba because I get it. He's been through a lot. But
the Emerald City route artist. All right.
I'm just saying, he didn't, stun everybody. You know what I mean?
No, he did not.
He didn't have the best performance ever, but still, he came close on getting a touchdown once. That ended up being a field goal, which led Seattle to a 12-0 lead. But, to me, like, Seattle was the better team from the start and the better team from the finish. I thought the game was going to be a lot closer. I thought Mike Vrabel was going to coach his ass off. And honestly, I don't think I've ever seen Mike Vrabel coach a game as poorly as the Super Bowl. I'll be completely honest with you. I do not think he made great decisions. And obviously, I don't think Drake made great decisions with the football at times. Because there was a point when New England scored that touchdown and Seattle pinned them back to the 1, and New England started going a little bit, but Drake May turned the ball over, and that was essentially the game. So I don't want to take up too much time here, gentlemen. I want to leave the floor open a little bit. For me, what we really learned here was Seattle was the best team in the NFL, and New England kind of got lucky. Go ahead.
I mean, yeah, but that's also called sports. Like, there's always got to be that one. It's always got to be like that one team in a championship game where it's like, they might have had an easier schedule than the other, and that's just how sports is. So pertaining to your Mike Vrabel thing, it kind of reminded me of his Tennessee Titans days, where it was like it wasn't the best play calling. But then other than that, like you said, I think the moment was just too big for A, Drake May, and B, that offensive line. Like, they were just getting bullied. And this game
Will Campbell, big no-no day.
Yeah,
kid.
Will Campbell was Campbell's soup sitting there while everyone else was getting past him. But I think that game taught us the difference between a good quarterback and a bad quarterback. And a bad quarterback. Now, I'm not saying Drake May's a bad quarterback. I'm saying Drake May had a bad day. But they were both getting Sam Darnold and Drake May were getting pressured a lot the whole game. Mike Vrabel's defensive scheme was great, but the difference was Sam Darnold would be able to get the ball out while getting hit, while Drake May would either take a sack or he would make a bit worse decision. And then, like, even on the broadcast, they were like, hey, Drake May needs to start using those legs. That's the only difference between Sam Darnold and him right now. And then you saw progress once he used his legs. But it took him way too much in that moment to figure out what to do because the dark side was just all in his face the whole game. Like, he could not see. No wonder he was throwing picks. But, yeah, my ending statement, I believe Jason Myers should have been Super Bowl MVP. Second is
Justice for Jason.
Yeah, second is Kenneth Walker. And third, Christian Gonzalez had the best game of his life. Too bad the New England offense had the worst game since I don't even know.
I'd say the worst game probably since last season. Or their loss to the Raiders at the beginning of the year. I mean, that was kind of pathetic, but that's the
not good.
Yeah. Go on, Jake. You have anything left?
I don't have much more to add. I do think the analysis, Matthias, that you had of the difference between the two quarterbacks, I mean, it was noticeable, right? And I wasn't listening to the broadcast because I was at a party and we had a lot of people, but I think just sitting on the couch with the other people at the party, we were all noticing, like, he's holding on to the ball forever. And if nobody's open, you got to run, man. It was the big problem that Julian Sayin had a lot for the Buckeyes this year, and it was noticeable where he would take a lot of time and not run. And he's not nearly as athletic as Drake May. Drake May is athletic enough and fast enough to step up and run and get yardage. And you're right. Once he started doing that, it was great. It was just like, that was the main takeaway for me when I'm replaying the game in my head was numerous occasions of Drake May under pressure and holding onto the ball for just an abnormally long amount of time. And more than I remember him doing it, watching him the whole season. I think and this is going to sound weird, but the main thing that I took away from this game and how I would describe it is I bet on New England to punt 4 consecutive drives on FanDuel, and 4 consecutive times I won. So I think that kind of tells you the story of what happened in this game for the Patriots. Like, it almost became like a free money. Just like, oh, they're going to punt. Because they really did just feel like they had no consistency, they had no continuity, and they couldn't find what to do to beat one of the most well-schemed defenses in the NFL. And I say that as a joke, but you look back at that game, and it was just a lot of first down, run of 2, second down, sack, third down, short play, punt. And it was just a lot of that, multiple drives after another. So great job by Seattle. Shout out Sam Darnold. Shout out Kenny Walker for a nice performance. I agree about Jason Myers. That's cool. And yeah, I think, Andrew, you had it. They were the best team in the NFL. And I think we just didn't want to admit it the whole year because we were like trying to hold out hope that somebody would beat them, but they never did.
So before we go on,
ahead.
I have a couple of stats. Before I read these stats, I have a question. Where do we put this team for all-time Seattle team? Before you guys answer, I have some stats. So Seattle is the first team to beat 3 12-win teams in the playoffs. They're the first team to go a whole playoff run with no turnovers.
That stat is the most ridiculous one of the whole thing, by the way.
But they only played 3 playoff games as opposed to New England's 4. To be quite
but 0 turnovers in 3 games in the playoffs.
It's still, I agree.
That's incredible. You didn't accidentally fumble
Darnold was
one
incredibly
time.
careful with the football, and I think we need to talk about that more.
But
well coached.
Seattle only trailed 1:35 this entire postseason, which was the fewest done by a Super Bowl champion since 1991. They are ranked first overall in DVOA and defensive DVOA, which is essentially efficiency against quality opponents. They put that in mind. And they're the only teams that have done that and won a Super Bowl since the Legion of Boom Seahawks, 2002 Bucks, 1996 Packers, and 85 Bears. And finally, the funniest stat.
Famous 85 Bears, I think, and famous Legion of Boom. So kind of put that into perspective. That's a good way to put that.
Yeah, and I think the funniest stat, the Seahawks had more sacks and more takeaways in the 2 games in Levi's Stadium than the 49ers did all season at home.
Jeez.
Wow.
So,
real.
I would say that the Seattle team with the Legion of Boom was more of a complete roster when you consider Marshawn Lynch, prime Russell Wilson, like the wide receiver core. They didn't have a Jackson Smith and Jigba, but like Doug Baldwin was a good player and Jermaine Kearse was a nice player. And I think in a bubble, if you like, prime Russ is better than now Sam Darnold. Prime Marshawn is better than now Kenny Walker. I think that team was better overall. I think it's an interesting point. Like we were watching one of the best teams that we've seen in a long time.
I think,
like you mentioned, you talk about defensive DVOA of one of the best defenses of all time in the 85 Bears. The 85 Bears who 41 years later are just referred to as the 85 Bears. And the Legion of Boom, who in our childhood was the best defense we all watched. So I think we're probably failing to admit how good, like in the grand scheme, that this Seattle team was, because they kind of just, it was almost like effortless how they played, especially in the Super Bowl. It kind of felt like they didn't really need to try that hard. I mean, this was another game that was over before it even really started. I mean, they were up 12-0, and it was like, well, this game's over. Like, New England can't score.
We were looking up scoring 13 points. I mean, if you take away Seattle not scoring again.
Well, right.
Yeah.
It got to a point in the third quarter where we were looking up if anybody had ever been shut out in a Super Bowl before. Because that's how it felt.
It did feel like
I mean, it was legitimate. We were like, everybody was asking me. They're like, "Oh, you're the sports guy," and I was like, "No, I don't think so. Not that I remember." And they haven't, by the way.
Real quick.
Nobody has ever been shut out in the Super Bowl, and thank God New England wasn't either. But that's how this felt. I mean, that having to look that up in the third quarter of the game was pretty telling. And
yeah, you're right.
They're getting dominated.
Yeah.
I think I'll chime in.
Go ahead,
Andrew. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Andrew.
Okay.
Go.
Yeah, I'll chime in and say I think the better run was this Seattle team in terms of a complete playoff run. In terms of who had the better Super Bowl, I'd say would be the 2013 Seahawks, because that team destroyed the Denver Broncos. Like it was 43-8, a scoregami, by the way. 43-8. It was complete chaos in terms of offense and defense. Like Denver had no answer for Seattle's offense, and they had no answer for Seattle's defense. I mean, that game was over essentially by the third quarter. I mean, probably at the half, honestly, with what the score was. But still, like that game, to me, I think the Seattle Seahawks, because they had some closer games in the playoffs there too. That run wasn't as good as this run was, but I think when you look at in terms of the Super Bowl performances, I would give the Seattle team of 2013 the edge over the 2025 Seattle team. But in terms of a playoff run and how successful it went, then certainly this Seattle team gets the props for it. That's my view of the situation. So I don't necessarily like to compare which one's better or which one isn't, because it's the same organization and they just won another damn Super Bowl. So if you're a Seattle Seahawks fan, you're on top of the world right now. And if you're the Minnesota Vikings, you're now understanding why Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah was fired. Like, makes complete sense to me if I'm a Minnesota Vikings fan. So, but one more thing before we completely move on, gentlemen, and I know Matthias, I think you had one more thing. There's a lot of talk going on that New England's done. Like they're going to go back to being a bad team next year, and they had a cupcake schedule. I don't think that's the case. And I'm just going to start within their division. We have question marks about the Buffalo Bills' new leadership regime with Joe Brady coming in. Probably will still work out, seeing they have Josh Allen, but still, there's questions there. Miami doesn't look like they're going to be doing much anytime soon, and the New York Jets are the New York Jets. So I don't think if I'm a New England fan, I should be that worried moving forward. I'm not saying they're going to make the Super Bowl next year. I'm not saying they're going to be the worst team in the NFL. I certainly think they're probably going to be in between that. They probably will either be a playoff team again or just barely miss the playoffs. But at the same time, every year is different in this league. So I don't think we should jump to any sort of conclusion that New England is cooked by any stretch. And that's all I have to say. Other than that, it wasn't a great game, but I am glad Seattle won.
I would just add to that just because you got there once doesn't mean you're going to get there again. So
yeah. I'm not saying
that's the only part of it
again.
that it's like, because Dan Campbell said it best last year when he said this might be our only shot. And it sometimes is. So I think that would be my biggest frustration is, you have a second-year quarterback, but there's a lot of quarterbacks who only got to go one time.
Dan Marino.
So I like that perspective, but if I'm a New England fan, I'm like, man, how many more opportunities are we? I mean, that's true for any team that loses the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. But it's just I watched the 2016 Indians in the World Series have a better team the next year and still not make it. So you might never get back.
It's true. I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying.
I do agree with you. If you're playing they're playing in a division that's wide open and probably theirs to lose.
What I was saying was, I'm not saying New England's going to make the Super Bowl next year. I'm not saying New England isn't going to have a harder schedule or anything like that. What I'm saying is New England.
No, yeah, I agree with that part.
Yeah, it's not like, I don't think you should just say, oh, New England's done. This was their only chance, and now they're going to go back to being terrible. No, I don't think that they might be awful next year. We don't know. But, I don't think you could just ride out a team until you actually see what they look like the following season. We've seen a lot of Super Bowl champions come back and not make the playoffs the following season. Look at the 2022 Los Angeles Rams, for example. So
one down year for them, and they're back on top. That's annoying.
It was one down year, but still they had a damn down year. They weren't in the
playoffs. Well, right, but I would kill for one down year, not 25.
I get it. I'm just saying, you don't know until next season. So I'm not willing to say New England.
It's an exaggeration either.
Yeah. You never know. Seattle might be terrible next year. I mean,
whoa.
I'm not saying they're going to be. They probably won't.
No,
I'm
joking.
I'm not saying they're going to be. I'm not saying they won't, though. I mean, you don't know until the following.
No, you're right, but I would be pretty shocked.
I agree with you. I'm not saying they are, but that's all I'm saying. It's like let's let the off season play out. Let's let a couple games in the regular season play out before we just jump to the conclusion that New England is cooked. I'm not
They
saying
also have a
they're
lot
going
of
to go
cap
back to
space
the
still.
Super Bowl, but I'm not saying they're going to be terrible. That's all I'm
They
saying.
got plenty of cap space. They'll be
Plenty
fine.
of it. Plenty of it. And they have a lot of players they could sign back. Do you guys have anything else before we move on to the NBA? All right,
No.
Super Bowl 61, please be a lot better. That's the only request I have. Matthias, the floor is yours. NBA.
While we're on Super Bowl 61, early predictions. Does anybody have a team they think is going to win?
Way too early predictions.
Way too early. This year was such a interesting season in terms of who won divisions, and we have such an interesting offseason that's about to take place, and so many head coaching changes and whatnot. I can't make any predictions until we start to really get into the draft and get into.
Okay, party pooper. I'm taking the Rams.
I was going to say, I'm ready to make a fool of
The
myself.
Rams seem like the most sure thing right now, but at the same time, like
if it's not Seattle repeating, I'm taking the Rams.
I think the Broncos are going to come back down to earth. I think Josh Allen is going to struggle in a new system. I really don't want to say it, but I think Jacksonville might come out.
It's a good call.
Jacksonville right now looks like the best team in the AFC out of the whole field. I will be completely honest.
And then for the NFC, I really want to take the Bears, but the same reason why I can't take Denver is the reason I can't take the Bears.
I can't do it yet with the Bears, man.
I think Detroit could bounce back.
Seattle, I want them to two-peat, but I think if they make the playoffs twice, I'm going to have flashbacks.
Second one was not as fun as the first one.
Yeah.
I'll chime in. Here's a team I think we could look out for next year. I think Detroit might bounce back.
That's not – if they gotta add some pieces still, but I'm never going to count those dudes out.
But think about this. Laporta went down. Their offense.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Tool went down. The Amon-Ra St. Brown was beat up at the end of the year. Jared Goff was essentially their only good player by the end of the season that was still left. They got to work on their defense, obviously, but I'm not counting out a Detroit Lion comeback. And I also think, you can't count out Cincinnati maybe figuring out their defense a little bit.
No.
Probably going to be a lot of additions they need, but they could.
If Zach Taylor's their head coach, they're not going to make the Super Bowl. So
Baltimore Ravens maybe under. I mean, I don't know about that yet because we haven't seen Jesse Minter coach a game, but the New York Giants could break out. I'm not saying they're going to go to the Super Bowl, but that could be a breakout team under Harbaugh. I mean, there's a lot of teams I'd say keep an eye out for. I think Philly's in a downward direction. I think the Chiefs, if they don't have Mahomes, are not going to be much. Denver might come back to earth. The Chargers could ascend with Mike McDaniel. I mean, that's a team that we could look at and say might be heading in the right direction. I mean, you don't know until next season. You don't know until, I'd say, week 7.
Well, yeah, but that's not the point of this exercise. Yeah. The point of this exercise was you just say...
No, I get it. Atlanta could break out this year. I want to say that Atlanta, if they can get the quarterback situation right, could break out. If Michael Penix ends up being the guy...
This segment was a disaster. I should have never said anything.
What was that?
No, it's okay. I got you with my other team.
Anything could happen, though. It's the NFL.
NBA. We got to go.
Yeah, let's go to the NBA.
Who was your NFC team, Matthias?
Anyways, my Super Bowl prediction is going to be 49ers, Jacksonville.
Cool.
I'll go Jaguars, Detroit for the hell of it for now, but it might change.
Okay, I already took the Rams. Give me the Ravens.
Okay.
Now I get to talk for a whole 10 minutes.
Hopefully not. I'm going to butt in. You know I will.
So first, I unfortunately missed the trade deadline, but I'm going to start. I'm going to start this segment with a team I believe is is the biggest loser in the trade deadline, and that is going to be the Chicago Bulls. The Chicago Bulls gave.
You don't like 9 point guards on the roster, Matthias?
Thank you. Thank you. Because they lost a lot of picks and not a lot of picks. They lost a lot of people, including giving the Celtics Nikola Vucevic for a whole lot of point guards. And yeah, I just don't think I feel like they're just drawing all these players' names in a hat and just waiting for one of them to break out. And it's like, if we have more, it's a guarantee that one of them will break out. I'm sorry, Colin Sexton probably won't have a Sam Darnold-esque career change, and Mike Conley's too old.
I'll never give up on you, though, Colin. Just know that.
I wish you were a Cavs sometimes.
There are days.
Yeah. But yeah, other than that,
I'll never forget when you blocked Kevin Durant when he was on the Nets. That was one of my favorite moments ever.
Can I chime in here for a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
The Cavs are up big right now on the Washington Wizards. Sam Merrill. I almost said Sam Darnold, but I said
I could tell you almost said Sam Darnold.
Sam Merrill. Yeah, 32 points. He's only missed 1 3-pointer and 1 field goal. He's going off tonight, which is great. And James Harden's debut for the Cavs at home, by the way. But I just want to chime in and say this. The Cavs are only 2 games behind the 2 seed. That's how much of a turnaround this has been. Now, wild, the Eastern, well, I don't want to say wild, how close it is. The West is wild. It's the wild, wild West. But the East is close. Like, the Cavs literally could be the 2 seed in another couple games. Now, Detroit's way far ahead of the Cavs right now, so I don't think they're going to catch up to them right now. But the Cavs could be the 2 seed if they keep playing the way they're playing. I just want to point that out.
That's what I wanted to start, and this is why I kind of wish I didn't miss last week, because I guess my take, they would have been on this progression anyways. Like, Garland was finally going on a groove. The Cavs are on a 4-game winning streak, and 2 of them were without Harden. Well, 3 of them were without Harden. This game is going to make it a 3-game winning streak. And this is just like they were already on that upwards projection. Every time I was on this show, I was telling you guys about how the Cavs, they were climbing back up on the standings. All they needed to do was just start playing how they have been usually playing. And finally it happened. And then they made a trade. So then now it's going to look like at the end of the season that James Harden did the turnaround for them instead of them already being on the turnaround. So
maybe he
that's
just
a bit
helped the turnaround.
The turnaround was already there.
I watched him hit that banked. I watched him hit that banked 3 for the tie, and I completely changed my outlook on it, and I'm all in. And they're giving out beards today. The day of the recording, they gave out James Harden beards at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. And you're telling me I'm not supposed to be all in?
I'll say this. I
wish I win.
Gone on and on about the Clippers being a retirement home. But, like, to me, like, I talked about how the Clippers needed a lot of young blood, and Darius Garland was that young blood last week. The Cavs needed a veteran. I mean, they needed somebody older and wiser to come in the building who's been there and done that. Now, James Harden...
wiser than James Harden, the wisest man on the earth.
I didn't say he was the wisest man on the earth, but I said he's been in the... But he's a wise NBA player. He's been in this league a long time. The Cavs needed a veteran presence. And Donovan Mitchell isn't going to cut it. They needed somebody like a James Harden who's been there and done that. That's what James Harden is. Does that mean James Harden is going to take this roster and help them get to a finals? I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think the Cavs are good enough to get to the finals. But I think it's still something the Cavs could use. And now his contract, in terms of if this is his only year, could it be a great rental? Of course it could be a great rental. We'll see. But the Cavs needed a veteran, and the Clippers needed young blood. So to me, this trade makes sense in theory with that. Doesn't mean it's going to work out. Obviously, if the Cavs can't get to the Eastern Conference Finals, bare minimum, it doesn't work out. But that's where I stand. And I'll leave the floor open.
I mean, yeah, for me with that, it's just, like, we've been texting in our group chat. Like, I believe that if Garland was able, like, because either Cavs fans or national media, I don't know who to blame more, but it's like there's this theory that, like, this is the Cavs' only chance, and it's like, no, we still have Donovan Mitchell until 2028, and that's. You said what?
I said maybe.
Maybe.
That's a maybe.
2027, but 2028 under contract.
Maybe.
Yeah, but then other than that, it's just we kind of just need Donovan Mitchell and then somebody to guard the perimeter, and then finally our big men to do what big men are supposed to do. And, like, that doesn't have to happen this year. And it felt like this was the Cavs. Like, I like that they're showing urgency by getting Harden, but I don't like that it sacrificed not only Garland, but also a pick. Like, it was a second round pick, but still, like, I thought, if anything, that the Clippers should have given us a pick. But either way,
Kobe Altman is the worst second round pick drafter of all time. So I just do want to point that out.
Okay, fair.
Other than Tyrese Proctor, I don't think he's hit on one yet. Not that like it's easy to, but like, come on, dog. Give me one.
Let's just see how this plays out for the Cavs. I mean, right now they're one of the hottest teams in the NBA. And if they could just have this good second season turnaround, and I think Matthias is right on the fact that the Cavs were going to turn it around probably anyway. But to me, this is about the playoffs at this point. Forget the regular season. Are you going to get to at least the Eastern Conference Finals? And obviously we want the finals. I'm not arguing that too. But like, if the Cavs can at least get to the Eastern Conference Finals, that shows progression for me. That was supposed to be what they at least did last year, and they didn't. They got to at least get to the Eastern Conference Finals. Donovan Mitchell has never played in a conference finals in his entire career. He has always been a first and second round out. So if the Cavs can't get to the Eastern Conference Finals this year, I don't think Donovan Mitchell could be your number one anymore. They have to do it this year. At least the Eastern Conference Finals. At least.
Let's move on to general NBA because we got really sidetracked.
No, we're good.
It's a big trade.
This is Cleveland. This is Cleveland first. But yeah,
I have a ghost in my house. I just need to comment on that. He's knocking stuff over next to me and scared the crap out of me, and now I might have to leave. So if I disappear, it was the ghost.
Must be a Steelers fan.
Probably.
But
sure.
Looking at the standings right now, I think another big story that is coming up is that the Thunder are still free falling. They are 5-5 in their last 10, and if they keep this pace, if the season ended right now, they would only be tied with the same record as the Detroit Pistons. Both teams have 13 losses, and the Detroit Pistons have two less wins because they play 2 less games. The Spurs are right on their tail, though, winning their last 5. Stephon Castle going for a 40-point triple-double.
Game was nasty. I saw that.
Yeah, and then already only 3.5 games back. Jake, I saw you with your hand up.
I was going to ask if Shea, free throw merchant Alexander was still injured or not. But because I know he was hurt. Is he still hurt? I hate him, if you couldn't tell.
I am going to check today's game. Even without today's game, I will say that, like, now this is starting to be a glaring problem. He has not played today's game yet, so
he hasn't played since the 3rd, it looks like. So we do need to, like, that is their best player, so that is part of the reason for their free fall, but also they have been free falling for quite a while.
Right. Yeah, they've been free falling since Shea was there because other people were starting to get injured.
Yeah, J-Dub's been out.
Chet's been periodically, but
not worried about the Thunder. I want to emphasize that. I'm not.
Chet's going to be a career injury concern guy. I have an unfortunate feeling.
Yeah,
it's leaning that way of like, hey, Chet's injured again, and you're like, yeah, we know.
Who would have thought?
Yeah, a guy that's as skinny as me and 2 whole feet taller is injury prone.
I think we also should talk about what's been going on with the Pistons and the suspensions.
That was nasty. That was
my
crazy.
Now the Pistons will still be fine, but I mean, to me, this resembles those bad boy Pistons in the late '80s and early '90s.
Isaiah Stewart's my hero. Beef stew, man. Throwing hay.
We do have this extra time. Yes, I love beef stew. And number 2, the Jazz at the trade deadline were really fun to watch.
Yeah. Go Jazz, man. That was cool.
Yeah, because now they're trying to tank, but they're also close in their games anyways. And I wasn't able to talk about this the week that he did this, but I said, watch out for Isaiah Collier. He's one of my favorite Jazz players. And then he decided to have a 22 assist game.
22?
Yeah.
Assists?
Yes. He had 22 assists.
That's insane.
So,
Sounds like
shout out to him.
points.
Yeah, I'm surprised that wasn't on your timeline.
That's crazy.
But yeah, definitely that was a moment where I was like, awesome, I feel vindicated. But
no, Rajon Rondo, welcome back.
Close enough.
Basically.
But yeah, other than that, like speaking of I think the suspensions aren't going to matter, kind of because of what you said, but the opposite of the Thunder. Like the Pistons look like a really good regular season team because they have a really good regular season coach. I don't expect them to coast, but if they decided to just lock up the first seed and then coast for the rest of the season, I wouldn't be surprised, because not only do the Pistons, but their coach, I forgot his name, former Cavs coach.
JB Bickerstaff.
Thank you. JB Bickerstaff has
You're lucky that's one of the two coaches that I know.
I knew somebody knew it because I'm like, it's on the tip of my tongue and it's going to annoy me. But yeah, JB Bickerstaff has a lot to prove, and so does this Pistons team. And we saw it last year. This team's hungry. I want to see them take the throne that they think they deserve.
I like watching the Pistons. I'm not going to argue that. For me, it's really the rest of the East I have questions about. I think the Pistons are probably going to end up being the number 1 seed. It's where do the Knicks fall? Are the Celtics going to stay at 2? Are they going to be a top 4 team despite no Tatum or Porzingis anymore? I mean, they still have a deep roster, so I'm not going to argue that. But and they got Vucevic, so clearly they're all in. The 76ers and the Raptors are still kind of there. I mean,
Cleveland, Detroit, Eastern Conference Finals would be electric, by the way.
It would be a movie.
Kind of a rivalry. I mean, it's not far from each other. It'd be like Boston, New York last year.
I would be in Detroit for one of those games, hounding every single person in the arena. I just want that to be known right now.
Especially JB Bickerstaff trying to prove that the Cavs made a wrong decision.
I will be booing him from the nosebleeds. Let me tell you what, because I don't have the money to pay for good seats, but I'll be up there, and he will hear me.
Amen. All the way from Loudville.
And to me,
I was thinking in Detroit, but either way.
I don't know. The West to me is just the wild, wild West right now. When you look at, I mean, the Nuggets are 4. I think 3 is the Rockets. They've kind of ascended again. I don't know. We'll have to see how this all plays out. It's going to get really interesting as the months go on here, as we get closer to playoff time, and see which one of these teams are going to come out on top. I mean, of both conferences. Because to be honest with you, I feel like it could be anybody.
Yeah, I love this parody of this season, by the way.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Because we came into this season like, oh, it's Thunder versus everybody. But now it's like, is it? What are we thinking? But
well, here's the thing with history of the NBA in the 2020s. No team has escaped the second round that has won a championship the year before. We've had a different champion every year since 2020. And the following year, that team does not go on to proceed in the playoffs past the second round. So
I think that's going to change.
Well, Oklahoma City better get to the Eastern Conference Finals and prove me wrong this year.
It's going to be tough.
I feel like right now those Denver Nuggets might be the team that beats them. I mean,
Houston Rockets.
Maybe the Rockets if they fall to the 4. I don't know.
Rockets.
You guys are proving my point that I was going to say. I would not be surprised if the 1 through 6 seed would make the finals for the West. For the East, the top 4, either of them can make it.
I'll say this: I don't think the Lakers are going to go, but I believe in the other 5.
Yeah, I only said 1 through 6 because the Timberwolves are down there for some reason.
I agree. No, I agree. I think the Timberwolves could do it. I don't believe the Lakers could. It's the only reason.
But speaking of the NBA,
hold on, Matthias. I have one more question for you.
Yes.
If you had to pick right now, what conference is winning it all? You think it's the West?
How dare you?
I know. I just thought of that question, and we haven't. At the All-Star break, so it's probably the appropriate time to start thinking about this.
I think it's the East.
I would have said the West as a casual.
I was going to say the easy answer, like the national media will tell you the West, but I think the East.
Am I not national media? I guess I am.
I guess.
I think the Knicks could win a finals. I think the Pistons could win a finals. I actually don't think the Cavs could, but I think the Celtics could without Jason Tatum at this point. They went in for Nick Vucevic. I mean, they could.
Are you saying East?
Rule them out. What?
Are you saying East?
I'm saying the East, yeah. I'm not including the Cavs in that, but I think there's 3 or 4 teams. I really think the Pistons and the Knicks could beat anybody in the West in a 7-game series. I really do.
I also agree
with
Andrew.
And the Celtics, most likely. I think the Celtics.
I'm going West.
Mm-hmm.
I also agree with Andrew, and for some reason my brain went immediately 1 seed versus 1 seed for the finals, and if that goes down as is, the refs are inclined to hold their, that's not likely, but like the refs have a tendency to hold their whistles in the playoffs, which will favor a team like the Pistons, who A, have Isaiah Stewart, and B, don't mind grinding out a game with you. And like,
if it's Pistons and not the Thunder, I would take the Thunder. For what it's worth.
I would take the Pistons.
I
would definitely take the Thunder.
I would
and I'm not, it's no disrespect to the Pistons, but you're telling me that the team that was just in the finals is going to lose to a team that's never been there and has really little to no playoff experience, and JB Bickerstaff is their head coach?
I'm just going to say right off the rip, though, the Pistons are playing bully basketball. Name one more team in the NBA that's not as aggressive as the Detroit Pistons right now.
I don't know. I don't watch. That's why I'm just
and I'm a primary casual fan too, but I start to pay attention more time this time of year anyway. I'm being honest. When I watch the Detroit Pistons play basketball, that is the most physical team in the NBA right now. JB Bickerstaff has those guys playing more physical than any other team. He's a Coach of the Year candidate right now. I know we got upset with him here in Cleveland, but JB Bickerstaff right now is doing one hell of a job, and I would put him as a Coach of the Year candidate in the NBA because the Pistons are playing physical, and I
should have never asked that. I don't know why I keep asking questions.
Cade Cunningham, and I trust Cade Cunningham. I know
I'm going to die. No more questions for me.
But
Jake, I'm glad you asked this question, by the way.
I know. We just go off into they just turn into tangents. It's just Andrew tangents. It's not even anybody else. I've just interrupted him. I'm so sorry.
I was going to say that it doesn't necessarily translate in the playoffs. I'm not going to argue that. I'm not saying the Pistons are going to the finals, but I think if you were to say Pistons Thunder in the finals, I damn well would give the Pistons a good shot, especially how they're playing right now over OKC. OKC hasn't played nearly as physical as Detroit.
The way that I would look at it is that if OKC has made it to the finals, by that time they're going to have been playing good enough to win it. Because here's the thing, if they keep playing like this, they're not going to make it. But if they do make it, that means they've turned it around and probably gotten healthy.
They shouldn't worry that much because you know what? They're 41-13. It's the NBA regular season. They're probably still going to win 60-plus games, okay? I'm not worried about the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Well, I just was asking a question. Just wanted an answer to my question.
I get it.
We've turned this into craziness.
All right, Matthias, let's wrap this up.
Anyways, hey, Jake. Speaking of young talent in the NBA, what you got for college? Because I got one name on my mind.
Hit me.
A.J. DeBonsta. I think I said that wrong. But
it does. Here's the thing with him. 2 things. Number one, nobody knows how to say his name. And every announcer that you listen to says it different, so don't feel bad. Number 2, I'm all in. I don't know if he's going to go 1, because I think the scouts are going to like Darren Peterson from Kansas, who has an MJ-looking jumper. I'm not saying he's Michael Jordan. I'm not saying he's going to play like Michael Jordan. His jump shot just looks a little bit like Michael Jordan. This DeBansa kid, my goodness. He had a play yesterday against Baylor. Tuesday, as of recording this. Yesterday is meeting Tuesday. That was unfathomable. I looked up from the screen to make sure it was real. I looked over and I was like, that was like he did that. And then I watched replay and I was like, oh my God. He probably traveled. I'm going to keep that abundantly clear. But just took one dribble and he might not have traveled. He might have just taken 3 beautifully long, like gazelle strides through the paint and holds the ball like this and dunks on 3 Baylor Bears and 1 to put him up like 11 on the road in Baylor. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm in. And not only can he do that, he can hit threes. And he's like 77% from the free throw line. So like he can kind of do it all. So if the only game you've seen is Baylor, he does that all the time. It's amazing.
Yeah, right. That was the only game I saw, and on top of that, he went 70% from the field with 36. So
yeah, he's
it was so ridiculous.
And like Baylor, they're not having the season that they normally have, but they're a good team, and to go do that on the road in conference is unbelievable.
Oh yeah. One last random stat for the NBA. We are moving on after this, I promise.
We have not much left to talk about, so we're going to get out of here.
Yes. Sam Merrill in this game with his 9 3-pointers this game is the 4th highest a Cav has scored. The 4th highest 3-pointers made in a game as a Cleveland Cavalier. I just thought that was...
It's a Cavalanche.
Who's the top 3? Mark Price? Kyrie?
I was going to say CJ Miles had one.
Oh, okay. I didn't know CJ Miles was ever a Cav, so that's awesome.
It's not all time like as a career. It's all time in a game.
In Cavs history?
Yeah.
Yeah. When was CJ Miles even a Cav?
Oh, 20...
That's what I was saying. I don't remember him being a Cav.
2014 while they were still trying to rebuild, and then LeBron came back and they were like, all right, bye.
So he had like a 10 3-pointer game?
Yeah. He had a 10. Kyrie had a 10, I believe, and then somebody had an 11.
My guess would be Mark Price, but again, that's just a guess.
Yeah.
Not LeBron, right?
I want to look this up, but we need to move on. So
yeah, you look that up. Let's move on. But I do want to know because I get Kyrie was the easy guess because like Kyrie in his heyday, especially in Cleveland.
Well, as we look it up, let's get to the Winter Olympics.
Yeah, I don't think we have a lot here. I think it's just we live in the United States. The United States is a pretty good Olympic country, so it's always cool to see the people representing our country. I every year am reminded how much I love curling, so that I've been enjoying watching that. I'm a big curling guy. Go ahead, Matthias. I know you just found it.
No, I was saying true about curling, but along with that, Kyrie Irving had 11 in 2015. Darius Garland had 10 in 2022. CJ Miles had 10 in 2014, and then Sam Merrill is on a stretch where in 9 days, I'm sorry, I can do math. In 9 days, he has put up 9 3-pointers.
Wow. It's pretty good.
Pretty good, Sam.
We'll take it.
Yeah, we will take that.
So, yeah. Great.
Extra 30 seconds
crazy,
now
but
for
speaking
the
of
Winter Olympics.
Let's go from those guys were hot. Curling is cold. Mixed doubles, men and women. Team Corey and Corey. Shout out to you guys. Provided me lots of entertainment watching the curling. They got the silver medal. If you know anything about curling, you know a silver medal for the United States' curling is sick. We used to be a trash country at curling. Like, we just used to not care. And then we realized that we were, like, competitive, and we're like, oh, we could do this. You're telling me it's a rock with some ice and a broom? We'll do that. And now we've, like, become one of the best curling countries in the world. There's still a lot of... The Winter Olympics is cool in the sense that the U.S. isn't actually good at a lot of the sports. So I think that's what makes it interesting. You get to see a lot of people from other countries highlighted. But curling and hockey are like the ones that are so easy because like we kind of We do hockey, but curling is like you don't have to have like mountains, like all the skiing and stuff. Like you just need a flat brick of ice. And the United States was like, yeah, we could do that. And now we have a silver medal in mixed doubles. We won a men's gold 8 years ago, and the team we have this year is really good. So if you are looking for United States to win some golds, you probably don't want to watch like skiing, but you should watch curling and hockey and figure skating. We'll get some there. I know we were talking before about Jake Paul's wife before the show. She won a gold medal in speed skating, so that was cool. Not a Jake Paul fan, but I was cool to see him.
Northeast Ohio native.
Yeah, it was cool to see him. He was there, very emotional, which I thought was cool. Just supporting his wife, fiance. I don't know if they're married yet, whatever. But, I think it's just one of those – it's one of the cool parts about the Olympics is it's not just about the athlete. It's about the family of the athlete. And so I like that. Myles Garrett is there watching his girlfriend, Chloe Kim.
Let's go.
And snowboarding, so that's fun.
I think one interesting fact also to talk about your stance about like how the U.S. can be like, oh, this doesn't have mountains. We actually have a chance. Women's hockey team, the U.S. women's hockey team, dominated Canada 5-0. And
Which
this
is
is the first
rare.
time Canada has ever gotten shut out in hockey.
Mm-hmm.
Which it's like, I don't know, but check in whenever the placement matches happen for that one. U.S. might have gold.
This is what I was just saying. What I think about the Winter Olympics is if you're a fan of sports, you are going to enjoy watching people from other countries do things that people from America don't do, and it's cool. Like, we put athletes in the luge, but we're terrible at it because we just don't have places to luge. But I think it's super cool that, like, in Germany, it's like their national sport is like luge, and they just do it all the time, and they're awesome at it. And it's like, yeah, I could watch a million basketball games, but I never have the opportunity to watch luge other than the Olympics. And, like, in Germany, they do it, like, every day. And it's cool. It's just cultural things. Like, if Jamaica can bobsled, anything can happen. That's the other thing, because that country doesn't have any snow, and they can bobsled. So you can do whatever you want if the Jamaicans can slide in a sled, because they don't even have snow. And that man from Haiti who finished in 64th place, good for you, buddy.
I'll say this. I didn't realize how much snow actually is in Milan.
Yeah, it's a lot colder there than I thought.
I thought Italy was like the Florida of Europe. I didn't realize it actually.
Yeah, no, it's cold there.
Oh, wow. Well, I learned something via that as well. And Summer Olympics at U.S., right?
Yeah, Los Angeles, 2028.
That's what I thought. Yep, that's what I thought. Coming up in 2 years. So, great. Well,
we'll be there.
Summer Olympics for you. Yep.
Yeah,
all three of us, credentialed media at the 2028 Olympics. You heard it here first.
Well, I'm not going to promise that on the podcast yet.
I'm going to promise it.
Hey, we'll see.
I'm going to wait.
Let me cover track. I'll do it. I'll do much better than some people will.
And that's the Winter Olympics for you, everybody. Let's get you to two comments this week to react to, and then we are done.
No, you shouldn't. You cannot give him the vindication of reading his comment because he did not answer my question, and I'm going to ask him every week until he answers it.
Okay, well, this is I Love DK Metcalf's response as of right now. It's Jake, a picture of him on Instagram. You can also see this picture in our Raw Takes & Co. logo, an intro every time you tune into the show.
Except it's not the same picture because the AI edited it.
The AI edited it to be the Cleveland Charge because the real picture of Jake is him in Browns gear. The picture here is him in Cleveland Charge gear.
All because I asked him the simple question, who's your favorite Charge player? And he didn't answer, and this is how he responds.
He made Jake a Cleveland Charge fan, but his question...
I am a Cleveland Charge fan. I said Killian Hayes was my favorite player.
He wants to know yours, I Love DK Metcalf, but...
I've been dying to know.
He wants us to talk about the upcoming United Football League season, and honestly, I don't know.
Is that the one with the Columbus team?
Think. Is it the one with the St. Louis team too? I think, or Orlando team. I think
there's like two of them. Yeah, the Aviators. We will be Aviators fans in this podcast, I think.
All right, so we're Aviators fans now.
Here's my thing.
Here's
my thing on these kind of football leagues. There's too many other things for me to watch in this summer and the spring. And I love football. Football is my favorite sport. But there's no other time. This is like if baseball tried to have a winter season. Like, I'm out.
I agree.
You need to give me a break. What I love so much about football is that when it ends in February, I yearn for it until August.
The NBA has a G League. Major League Baseball has AAA, AA.
It would make more sense to just make this the AAA team and they play at the same time.
I get that too, but at this point, you know what? I'm not even for minor league football. I think we should just have college football and pro football and leave it there. Because rookies can make a huge impact. We have minor league baseball and we have minor league basketball. We don't need minor league football too. That's because rookies make an impact.
If it's on, I'll watch, but it's not gonna like get my screen.
I get that too.
Yeah.
And one more comment this week. Anthonyjhoty, I like my takes just like my WWE Raw.
That's fire.
That is fire.
The Columbus Aviators have Julian Saint's brother on their team.
I'm going to use that transition as a shameless plug. You guys should watch this guy named oh my gosh, now I'm blanking on his name. Give me like 10 seconds.
Good shameless plug. Now we got to filibuster for 10 seconds. You know what? I can't say that on the pod.
Found it.
But
so you guys need to watch Javon Evans in WWE. His nickname, he comes out to the ring literally saying, "That boy bouncy," and he proves right every single time. This dude flies around the ring. He did an insane Raw was in Cleveland this past Monday, and he had one of the craziest highlights I've ever seen in wrestling for like the past decade. Javon Evans is the future of WWE. You guys should watch Raw.
Well, that's going to be it for today's edition of Raw Takes and Company. Matthias Sandhar, Jake Malencic, anything else before we cut it for tonight?
No, please no.
Okay. We're done then. Have a good night, everybody. Take it easy. We'll be back with you in 2 weeks. We're taking a hiatus next week. We'll be back the following week. Right.
I'm going to eat 17 pancakes and press these two because they said I was a little body.
Okay.
All right. We're ending it on that. Have a good one, everybody.